red, white, prowess, burn, whatever you want to call it here. We've got Clever Lumimancer alongside Soul-Scar Mage waiting for their soulmate Taylor Swiftspear to join them here in Historic eventually. We've got a bunch of pump spells like Built to Smash and Infuriate. We've got burn spells like Skewer and Wizard's Lightning and Lightning Helix here. We've got all of our red-white duels. We've got some Ramunap Ruins. We got some Dreadhorde Arcanist to flash things back. You think you'd rather have Pillar in the main over Helix? Sure, I'd buy that for $1. We have 19 lands here because most of our cards cost 1 mana. These are like 3 mana spells. Actually, I guess a good question is, I think Skewer is probably better than Wizard's Lightning, huh? Maybe we just play 1 Helix main and we play 4 Skewer. Okay, I think I want 3 Helix in the 75 for the aggro matchup. Actually, maybe I put all 4 Helix on the board. Let's do that. The Skewer work with Arcanist. It does if you infuriate it. You piss him off. You piss him off enough that he wants to impale his critics. Yeah, exactly. You went on turn 3 a bunch of times. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Just like play 3 1-drops out and then like play 3 spells on turn 3. Or you go one drop into Kiln Fiend. Maybe you are right that all pillars should be in the main deck just so you can maximize your 1 mana plays on turn 3. I can see that. Just leave the helixes on the board for the aggro matchups. Oh, Spikefield's a good thought. Yeah, we could probably go as low as like 16 or 17 lands with some Spikefields. I think that's a good suggestion. Titan strength would be perfect. Alright, Soul-Scar Mage, the little 1-drop that could, chat. So that's 28 months, Wolfie. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Defiant Strike was already legal injured.
Past, present, and future. Keep an open mind.
Four, five, six, seven, eight. Do I just put them to 2? And like hope to draw a burn spell? I think we just put them to 2, right? Thunk. Set the mood. Let them know that this game is not about their planeswalker.
I have just the trick for this.
Whirlwind denial. No, they can still cast Thoughtseize. It's still a legal play. I fiend over Arcanist because Arcanist flashes back a lethal spell, and they're showing a counter spell, so I'd rather the Kiln Fiend get countered or killed, rather than the Arcanist. Don't criticize my Kiln Fiend. See, chat? Shouldn't have criticized my Kiln Fiend. Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta give it like a count of 15 here to really embody the mono-red mindset. Alright. That's good. Deep breath, Bolt. Red players. Alright, Bomat Courier sounds great. Flamescroll Celebrant sounds great. If there was any justice, they would have packed and negated you. That's true. That's true. If this was a world that contained justice, they would have punished us there. Thankfully, I live in reality where there is no justice. You could play the red Shocklands. You mean Ramunap Ruins? Because I already added 4 of those, Crunchy. I didn't mention it during deck building, but I added 4 Ramunap Ruins. Instead of 29 months, Stormcooper. I mean, if they're leaving in Mind Rot against me, Andrew, that's fine. Dorncorn, thanks for the follow. Now, I think we could play Spikefield Hazard. Anything more expensive than Spikefield Hazard isn't playable. Hey, Sento Taff, thank you for the 3/4 of a year. Welcome back.
There are so many myths with thoughtfulness before action.
There's a lot of permutations of how this turn could go, huh? What if we infuriate the Soul-Scar Mage, tap the Narset down to 1 so she can't impulse, and then play Dreadhorde Arcanist? I think I like that. So I'm not playing cards that draw cards, so just killing her doesn't do anything. I'd rather push more damage.
Fury will only lead you astray.
They could be on, like, Ritualist, so it would be bad for us here, but, like, we're kind of insulated against Extinction Event. Wow, they left in Mind Rot against us. That's surprising. Yeah, maybe we do board out the Arcanist then. Yeah, maybe Todd. I don't know, I feel like them taking the turn there to, like, play that card that doesn't play to the board is, like, pretty okay for us, right? Bomat Courier looking good here. Honestly, this is a card that could be in our main deck.
Meditate and prepare.
It's pretty good. They have to like memory lapses, right? Oh, maybe I'm supposed to target something else with this. So that way, if they go to... Yeah, I think I was supposed to target Soul-Scar there. So that way, if they want to kill the target, I get to flash it back. Yeah, that was wrong.
I must stay focused.
Yeah, I should have targeted this here. I would have pushed more damage against a piece of spot removal. The memory lapse was face up, so I was thinking I was going to get memory lapse, but against a removal spell, my line was much worse. All right, they found a white mana. So much worse. Plus like 3 points of damage right now. This is a lapse, I assume. Yeah, Warlords, Fury, and Crash Through seem really good here, I agree. Definitely excellent cards. Definitely no risk associated with those. Tick-tock goes the red clock, chat.
This isn't a fight. You know what? I'm not done.
Hey, God's willing his face up here. I assume they have a thing in hand to kill this in response, but my play's pretty scripted here. I think this is worse than a random. I think this is worse than a random. Because like even lands let me Ramunap Ruins at this point.
I won't hide from the world any longer. Hurry!
Hey, untapped land, untapped land, untapped land, untapped land. Hit me, dealer. Hit me, dealer. No! That put us into garbage time? I think that puts us into garbage time, chat. I believe in you, Bomat Courier. This little robot's going the distance. It's going for speed. It's all alone in this time of need. Spin your wheels, tiny robot. Spin, spin, spin. You can do it. You know what's also worth noting here, chat? It's really easy to look at this game, and this is one of the reasons why it's hard to get better at Magic in a lot of ways, and card games in general, is it's very easy to be like, oh, they drew a timely and they were very lucky and we were unlucky. Think back in that game to like turn 4 or 5 or whatever, when I targeted the wrong thing with Infuriate. If I targeted the right thing with Infuriate, I would have pushed +3 damage, and my opponent top decked a timely while they were on 2 life. So it's very easy to focus on what happened at the very end of the game and what your opponent did that you have no control over, when in reality, we can reflect back on that game and look back on a decision that I made that I had agency over and go, oh, I could have made a different decision and had control over some of this outcome a little bit. And that's what you really have to do to get better at card games. Card games obviously have a variance element and you can't always win, but being able to look back on the decisions that you made and be reflective on those rather than salting off on what your opponent top decked is how you try and get better. Yeah, there was another turn where I drew Lurrus instead of casting a burn spell. That could have been a mistake as well. I could have skewered plus shocked that turn. It is much easier to salt off and than be reflective. You're not wrong. Lead on Soul-Scar here, I think. Man, it's a real shame we didn't draw a land tier. It's a real shame we didn't hit a white source. I think there's a good chance they have a removal spell here, so I'm going to get Bomat Courier going rather than trying to double shock. It's like, imagine how punished they would have been. If we'd have drawn a land, would we have killed them there? A white land? We would have gone shock, which would have done 4. And then the Kiln Fiend would have been 7, 8, 9, 10. And then this would have been +4 as well. Yeah, I took a red land out of the deck, though. I don't really want to draw a red land. Is God's Willing better than Fight is 1 in this deck, by the way? Because Fight is 1 gives +1/+1. Like imagine a Fight is 1 here. God's Willing gives unblockable. Okay, that's fair. So God's Willing's better in the creature matchups. It's a good observation. That's strictly a strictly 1-to-1 comparison. I think the unblockable is more important than the scry. I can't ever choose, and I always coward split them. God bless. These Bomats have been absurd, by the way. For people that haven't played with that card before.
I'm known for my excellence. Keep up the pace.
Alright. Gotta do it now, because otherwise they can cling. Do I want some copies of Spikefield Hazard? I feel like the answer is yes. This puts us back to the original 20 lands, only with 2 of them being spells on occasion. Do I want to play the full 4 and be 22 lands? Yeah, burn-based decks like this have a ton of play to them. So here's the thing that people don't get. There's people in chat that this is a very good deck building lesson. It's one of the things that makes this building mana bases in this format so important and so interesting and have decisions. Chat's like, this deck doesn't like tapped lands. You're right, chat. My aggro deck doesn't like tapped lands, but you know what my aggro deck also doesn't like? It also doesn't like drawing its 5th or 6th land in most games. So ideally, this deck would play 18 or 19 lands. So instead of playing just 18 or 19 lands, I'm going to play 18 lands plus these spell lands, because while you're right, a tapped land sucks in my aggro deck, having a land that's tapped is better than missing my second land drop, and having a spell is better than flooding out. So it's the flexibility. You're right. From a pure power level perspective, I would never play either half of this card on its own in this deck. You're giving up power for flexibility to add consistency. So Built to Smash only targets attacking creatures. So in order to have Arcanist flashback 3 mana spells, you need to Infuriate proactively. So Built to Smash doesn't let this flashback these. This can also technically protect you from red removal in a pinch, but that's the key differential between these two. I think that Sprint's better than Smash. I don't know. I think the Scry's pretty mediocre. I think giving haste is pretty whatever. Is Shatterskull Smashing a thought? I think it's worse than Spikefield Hazard. And I think I want at least a couple of basics. Yeah, a tapped land is better than being short a land, and 1 mana, 1 damage, and some prowess is better than your 5th land. It's exactly that. Exactly that. We just dropped the Kiln Fiend and pass, right? Just attack with this. Let them set the mood. Let them know what this game is about. Why is Bomat Courier in the side? Because Bomat's not good against decks that are playing creatures. So instead of boarding it out against decks that are playing creatures, we're boarding it in against decks that aren't. I think I want to hold on to this in case they play something with 2 toughness I want to kill. Is this land? This might be a spell, huh? I think this is actually a spell. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. All right, so fun fact, chat. Don't Spikefield Hazard this when Spikefield is going to be the 8th card in your graveyard. You'll be very sad. Damage doesn't kill creatures, chat. State-based actions kill creatures. Get memory lapsed here and be real sad. I guess if they do this. Do I just offer this trade now, hit them for 2, play Lumimancer? I think is the play. Yeah, Spikefield doing exactly what we wanted to do here. Really excellent showing of why the flexibility on a card like this is good. Maybe I'm supposed to Spikefield first here, because they might try and kill the one they're blocking in response to Spikefield pumping it, and then I could blow them out with God's Willing. Yeah, I think my sequencing on my spells here is wrong. Yep. I think there's a chance that if I Spikefield their dome, they try and kill my thing in response. All right, and now lands are good draws because 2 lands lets Ramunap Ruins kill them, and spells are good draws because spells probably kill them. So my opinion on Rogues' deck in Historic. Rogues is very good. Very, very good. In fact, I posted on Twitter yesterday after I was done streaming that I think there's a good argument to be made that Veil of Summer should probably be legal in Historic because I think Rogues is that good. I think there is a strong possibility that Rogues is going to end up being the best deck in this format under its current selection of cards. Rogues didn't just win the tournament, it had 2 copies in the top 8. Archetype is very, very good. Wouldn't Veil make it harder to interact with combo decks that want to run it? What combo decks are already playing green? And why is Veil of Summer better than the counter spells that are already playing? Neoform, sure. Neoform's not very good. It's like the decks it makes better aren't very good currently. To be blunt. Sure, Citadel Storm, also probably not very good as is. Can Historic police itself against Rogue with escape cards? Escape cards aren't necessarily a natural predator to it, Vilheim. And if you look at the Rogues decks in Historic, they don't fill the graveyard up as readily as the Rogues decks do in Standard, because they're often not playing the crab. And things like Memory Lapse give them more counterplay against escape cards, because you get to sit there and just tempo them while they escape their things. Yeah, they pressure a lot of axes at once, is exactly correct. And, by the way, like, Veil of Summer is a card that could be legal in this format. So, like, Veil of Summer is a way the format could police itself. By giving answers into the format that allow you to police it. Alright, so... this is definitely a Helix matchup for the flexibility. Is this a rip-apart matchup? I feel like I'm inclined to trim Infuriate in this matchup as is. Just because they're targeting my stuff. Like, the odds of an Infuriate not getting blown out are low against, like, the Fatal Push drawn in the lock deck. I'm gonna coward split these. I'm gonna go 2 Rip-Aparts, 2 Infuriates. This card will have some good gotcha moments, but I like having a little bit more interaction, I think, here. I think there's a chance we assume, like, a controlling role. 40, my sub is sore and achy and has less energy. Thanks for the tier 3 Fizzy Dragon and for the duration. Am I gonna be more sore and achy at 40 than I am at 30? Is it all downhill, chat? Is that what you're telling me? Lie to me, chat. Lie to me. Yes, sorry. Hey, Styles, thanks for the 19 months. Good morning and welcome back. I think I killed the crab, right? I think we killed the crab because it lets us push 2 damage this turn. People just assume I must be boomer adjacent, Wenzy, because I have 3 kids in a house. Those are boomer features. They're not millennial features. Alright, do I murder their board? We're definitely killing this. I think I want to drop Dreadhorde Arcanist. It feels so bad they just get to cantrip this. No, we're doing Dead Guy Ale after this one, Lumbering Falls. Nice, they're scared. Honestly, kind of want to draw an untapped land next turn so we can, like, double Kiln Fiend. Honestly, I'm not sure I'd leave anything banned in Historic other than like Oko and Uro. I think those would probably be the ones I'd leave on there. And the new archive cards I'd leave banned too. Natural Order and stuff like that, but nah, I think Teferi, Field of the Dead, all of it. Just bring it back. Nah, Once Upon a Time I'd leave gone too. I forgot. Once Upon a Time is such a heinous design mistake. I forget it exists. That one should stay gone. Once Upon a Time is a card that Wizards of the Coast should have known not to print. Its design is offensive. Even Flame Tug Coffee. Oh, poor F2K. I'm honestly not sure Nexus and Reclamation are worse than the other combos they put in the format with the most recent printing. I wouldn't be upset if they stayed banned, but also if I'm being honest with myself, I'm not sure there's a good faith argument I can make for leaving them banned. So like, I agree with you that they're kind of painful, but I also think like they just added a bunch of painful stuff to the format. So like, took my boy out back and drowned him in the lock chip. Guinness and MJC, thanks for the follows. Welcome to the channel this morning. 26 cards in deck. Franco's really good here. Speaking of really good, is that lethal? It's close to it, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At 12, my one short? I think I'm one short, because this is 6, right? That's fine, I'm at 10 with 23 cards here. It's art. Thanks for the 3/4 of a year. I'm glad you enjoyed the Glenday Open. Our next one's going to be May 8th. It's a Saturday. If you'd like to watch the next one or maybe play in it, it's going to be historic again. We gonna make me sack a creature and then they're gonna play a blocker? All the Ramunap Ruins milled? I have no idea. Yeah, I like this line. It means they have us dead next turn if we don't peel something here. I assume this blocks or kills this. There is 2 Ramunap Ruins in my bin, so there's 2 more in 20 cards, or 1 in 10 to kill them that way. Burn spells, also lethal. That'll do. Previously standard banned all-star Ramunap Ruins, ladies and gentlemen. We got lands, chat. Your lands being spells is busted. Our deck has like 21 lands, but 7 of those lands double as spells. Kind of great. Hey, thanks for the quarter of your busy hands. Welcome back. So putting cute names like that on things, Zeke, is cute, but it makes people finding things via YouTube searches harder. So you got to try and keep the names kind of generic and make them terms that people might actually type into the YouTube search box. Do I go to 6 here? I think I do, right? A 1-drop. Yikes, should have kept the 7. Listen, chat. I'm gonna give you the most real piece of advice you're gonna get today from anywhere. You'll never lose a game because you mulligan to 5 if you always keep 7. These are the tips and tricks that the MPL don't want you to know. We do have a reasonable 5. You could argue our 5 is built to smash, chat. Show of confidence isn't very good. Show of confidence sounds like a cute card that's like good exactly with this card when you exactly have one other card with it. But I'd much rather just have cards that are a little bit more individually powerful. Yeah, that too. I think the Show of Confidence deck was a standard deck too. Well, I mean... Honestly, I think the worst thing about going back to playing Standard after playing Historic is looking at 2-color mana bases and realizing how inconsistent your deck is because your 2-color deck just can't cast its spells on time feels so terrible. You hope I get Pulse? Nah, they play like Binding the Old Gods. I'll play Pulse. Man, it's really unfortunate that I can't play both of these before we deal damage, huh? Jund Food took a significant beating with the release of Strixhaven. Strixhaven added a lot of spell-based combo decks that don't play to the board. So they're gonna get to save Do we trade with the Corvold? We forced the trade on the Corvold, right? How much am I hitting them for if I don't force the trade in the Corvold? This is 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I gotta eat the Corvold here. I still get to hit them for 6. These 4 will trade. Corvold triggers, what about it? It only triggers if they eat the goose, and even if they eat the goose, we're gonna still kill their Corvold because my thing's gonna be a 7. We're trading regardless of what they do here. I think we saved this for before we attack next turn, right? Main deck Soul Guide Lantern. Yep. Our opponent's been hurt, chat. They're gonna block our stuff regardless. I think we just pillar the Woe Strider, right? What if we attack all and then play spells? Well, my spells are sorceries. That would be a very bad play. Empire for Hire. Thank you for the 16 months. Welcome back. They're looking for an untapped land here so they can escape this Woe Strider. I used that to be exactly Fabled Passage, too. It's rough. That line only works in paper on pre-release day. I think, that reminds me of one of my favorite judge calls ever. I was watching two people play Modern, and one of them had a non-English Pillar of Flame, and they end-step Pillar of Flamed their opponent, and their opponent dispelled the Pillar of Flame. And I was just like, all right, you guys need to hold on. I gotta call a judge, because you both messed up in ways that I don't think you quite understand currently. I need to sign off. I will be back. I'll be back tomorrow. This video back into 2 parts. For people that are watching on YouTube or coming back now, we had mild children being children all simultaneously, and Christy needed a hand. She's superhuman, but everybody needs help sometimes, and I'm glad I could help her wrangle children simultaneously. We're gonna play a little bit more red white prowess. All of the children and things are fine. Sometimes things are just much easier with double parental units. I would say the poop hit the fan, but poop hit the floor is more realistic, just to like save you the gory details. So being a parent is pleasant. It's an experience. Seeing's pretty good. Our extra land being a spell looks pretty decent there. I think we lead on Soul-Scar Mage and probably like attack for 1, play this tap land on 2, and then spam our spells on 3. Justin Mack, thank you for the 60 months. 5 years is a long time. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Read. I wonder if they're playing Sultai Ultimatum. Could be Yorion and green-black lands to start here. Okay, so it's like a solid turn 3. Maybe a little above average. Punt Count Infinity, checking in for the 52nd month. Welcome back. New round. Okay, so that's going away. I think, pretty sure this is a spell at this point. I think we're Lumimancering. As opposed to Soul-Scar. We're back at it, Kicker. Looks lethal to me. Hey, MWLX, thank you for the 26 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Alright, so they're gonna get, like, a card that takes an extra turn and a way to gain life here. I guess I guaranteed. Is this card always deterministic on me now? Thank you for bringing me my glasses, son. You may steal some water as a prize. One turn too slow here, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure Emergent Ultimatum ends up being deterministic in this format. Maybe. I think this card combo kills us. Yeah, it depends on their build for sure. Let's wait and see what they grab here. They might not be deterministic.
The card one-shot you?
It might one-shot us. Yeah, it gets a bunch of other cards that could team up to one-shot us.
Could be the head. Wait.
Okay, yeah. So we just throw this back into the deck and then we kill them on the untap?
What? What? Is it a comic?
They did not one-shot us. We dodged it. Dodge a one-shot, you can dodge a ball.
But it amuses me.
Bye. Dickle, dickle, dickle.
Love you, dude.
And away you go.
Man, Ramunap Ruins has been like the card of this set so far, huh? Lot of Ramunap Ruins from 2 and 1 kills. Flamescroll Celebrant and Bomat Courier both sound good. Honestly, Dreadhorde Arcanist probably comes out here. This card's has to sit and play and survive. I think Built to Smash is probably a little mediocre. They have a lot of interaction in their deck. Yeah, the silence part of this could be a little bit hard to cast just because it does take white in our mana base, but the red half is also decent too. Okay, like this. I gotta teach in 20 minutes. Can you silence an ultimatum in that period? Hopefully we'll just run them down and not have to do it. I think the silence flip card is like really good craft. If you're someone that's like a little conservative with what you craft in general, I think it's a good pickup. I think we again lead on Soul-Scar Mage here. Hornet Queen. I think Hornet Queen's a little bit too big, probably. Just gonna go ahead and get the Infuriated now, I think. I have plenty of spells lined up, so just want to get my damage in while the getting is good. No, I believe Diva's been working on like blue-red prowess lists, Isabus. So something a viewer sent in. Like most of the things we play. It's like they're on nothing. You just like keep a hand that doesn't do anything here. Alright, you're at 3, go. You can't keep hands like this, chat, even on the play. Yeah, okay. Good game. You know, believe it or not, red-white prowess isn't really a very unique archetype piece of us. Just like one of those, like red land destruction, right? It's like one of those things that a lot of people are going to think about. Man, these are some good sample hands here. Yeah, I mean, like, and honestly, like, well, I had to take a short break, Pro Joey. I was off for like half an hour. Oh no. Oh no. Well. I guess we're gonna test our ability to output damage, huh? I'm in danger. This was the one we needed to dodge. Especially with this paired with it. Oh. That doesn't really matter. Alright, sure. Aggro just gonna concede this match. Authority main deck, yeah, for when you're only beating the red decks by a lot. I mean, you might as well lead into your polarized matchups, right? Make your 80-20s, 90-10s. This is okay. Only one threat's a little scary. I've got the God's Willing theoretically to protect it though. I don't know. I don't think putting Prowess on our board really solves that matchup too often. Like they have plenty of ways to remove it post board. The Angels deck is one that's fallen off the map quite a bit because it really doesn't race particularly well. And it's pretty poor against the control decks in general. I assume we're gonna lose the God's Willing here so they can kill this with a removal spell next turn. That being said, we do get to attack for like 8, so that's nice. By 8, I mean 10 if they hadn't taken that. Been lurking since GRN, sub for the open, stayed for the great content. Thanks for the 2 months, Sloth. Next open is going to be on May 8th. Saturday, May 8th. Alright, so any spell is lethal here? By spell, I meant non-creature spell, obviously. Bottom that. Is any with this hit for 2, any land or any untapped land or burn spell is lethal. No real reason to block there. Might as well play around, like a Spikefield Hazard killing my Soul-Scar Mage. Man, Ramunap Ruins, chat, is like the MVP of the day so far. Against another Dreadhorde Arcanist deck, I think I want to be able to kill those pretty proactively. They were notably a Lurrus deck too, right? So they are not a Phoenix deck, so I probably don't need these Soul Guide Lanterns. I like trimming the pump spells for the most part when we're bringing in more interaction. Just want to be... It's like a touch controlling, basically. This doesn't kill Arcanist, so it's probably worse than some of these other ones. So, generically, you don't want to keep hands that don't have threats in them. But I think against a Thoughtseize deck, and they probably have Inquisition in their deck too, I think I'm supposed to keep a hand like this that just has lands and spells, because, like, if I mulligan looking for a threat, there's a good chance I get a hand with only one threat in it, and then that threat just gets taken by a discard spell. So I think I'd rather just have more cards to start rather than anything else. Do I deploy this, or do I wait for a land? I think I might wait for a land here, actually. I think there's any reason to let them use their mana here. Well, at the very least, don't mulligan hands that have lands and spells. No, I poked out for a second, Wargame. Had a minor family thing that needed addressing. And it's fine. Everybody's fine, and we're back. Confirmed Death Shadow here, hurting themselves over and over and over again. Yeah, this is the arena music. It always makes me chuckle how many people must turn the arena music off for themselves, because they're always surprised when they turn on my stream. And what the music that I'm listening to is the arena music. Would you like to gain one? I think we do this, because if we draw an untapped land next turn, we can just 9 them, right? It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Oh, this lives, doesn't it? This is actually a fine draw. Well, I guess if they have a counter spell, they still win, right? Whoa! Brutal. Do I want Soul Guide Lantern? I feel like the answer is no. I want these Bomat Couriers on the play. Yeah, we're good, Penguin. That's why I'm back. Let's let them do some of our work here for us. When you're playing a burn deck like this against Shadow, it's kind of like this balancing act where you're trying to figure out, okay, how much do I let them do to themselves versus how much do I want to actively be doing to them? Feels like they're holding up Test of Talents here, so I kind of want to wait to play these until I can do both in the same turn. Oh, fuck. I'm losing my wizard. I wasn't thinking about that. It's a pretty big mistake. Yeah, I think this is gonna be enough to tempo us. I wasn't thinking about... My Wizard's Lightnings were lightning bolts in my mind. Lumimancer is actually our best draw next turn, because it turns our Wizard Lightnings into 1-mana spells. Yeah, Lumimancer's lethal. I needed them to not have a land there. Yeah, I messed that game up. I should not have attacked with my Arcanist before I fired off the Wizard's Lightning. The turn I infuriated was super wrong. I should have just passed, and then because I had the Infuriate, I probably should have like end step double Wizard's Lightning them, and then gone back to my turn and then Infuriated and then done some burn spells with the skewers that I had in hand. I think we almost assuredly win that third game there with better play. Burn versus Shadow. That's not a matchup I've played in a long time. No, I'm actually playing blue-black control at the moment. Maybe your stream's delayed a little bit. You're not seeing it. Try and leave them their thing here. Just play to the board. Well, to be fair, you're probably messing up your Magecraft a lot in Standard because your Magecraft deck in Standard is bad, so you have to play perfectly to make up for the fact that it's terrible. Because you're not playing Eldraine cards, so you're playing from behind. You didn't have to tell me the truth like that. Hey, thanks for the tier 3, Anya. I appreciate the 29 months. Welcome back. This is pretty brutal. They're playing traditional red with light up the stage, which probably puts them at a pretty big advantage in a matchup like this, I imagine. This is a pretty decent draw, he says before he realizes he has nothing to flash back. I mean, lots of bad decks are fun, Jake the Man. I didn't say Magecraft couldn't be fun. I just rather have fun in Historic with the deeper card pool, where it's slightly less apparent that my brew is bad. At least in Historic, when my bad brew has a bad matchup against a top deck, I can lie to myself and say, hey, that matchup's not very popular. I appreciate that, Anya. You gotta pop those channel notifications on. Twitch tells me only something like 15% of my followers have channel notifications on. You can also add yourself to the arena role in the subs Discord to get notifications when I go live there. If you're in that part of the community. Yeah, and everything's good. Thanks for the tip, Bob. You're absurd. Full Flame, thank you for the 31 months. As a heads up, Bob, I already have two cuts after this. So I can get to Dragon Reanimator today, but it's gotta wait a hot second. Set release is a busy time. I think we've died. Yeah, they've still got their Lurrus. So I've got Helixes and Rip Aparts here. I've got Bomat Couriers of my own, but it definitely feels like we're at a pretty huge disadvantage here against a traditional red deck. They have card advantage that we don't have baked in effectively. Switch tell you what percentage of your viewers are watching work. It tells me which percentage of my viewers are US based, I believe. Yeah, I did just trim a bunch of cheap spells, so Arcanist is probably bad, I agree. Cutting the pumps means that he can't flash back our bigger spells either. Love it. Scale of 1 to dead. Where's this Lumimancer at? Okay. We, however, are firmly on the dead side of the scale. I'm gonna try and get one more match in with this. I don't know that I'm convinced that this more all-in build is better than, like, what this previous opponent was doing. Feels like we're a more fragile version of what they're doing, while only being, like, marginally more explosive. It feels like our most explosive draws involve triple 1-drop and not Kiln Fiend anyways. So I kind of feel like I'd rather just be a traditional red aggro. Hellboy, thanks for the 32 months. Welcome back. Well then. We're gonna get Separate Dial eventually. Guaranteed to come. Extra Putt, thanks for the follow. It's a downside to leading on that over Dreadhorde Arcanist. If they had something like a Lightning Strike, though, I'd prefer that die first. Just gonna double Soul-Scar Mage here, I think. They have the strike too. The good news is they haven't played any like light up the stages or card advantage, and we've been fortunate to like draw a bunch of our threats here, so we like have a real shot. Wizard's Lightning, brutal. Now the fact that we have Lurrus and they're not playing Lurrus here is probably a pretty big leg up for our side. Too bad we'll never get Battle Rage. We're getting Battle Rage too. Battle Rage is a Fate Reforged card. That's Pioneer legal. Remember, everything Pioneer legal will eventually be Historic legal, chat. Battle Rage and WD are like literally the same set. They're the same mechanic. They're both ferocious cards. Yeah, see, we've 1-for-1'd each other a whole ton here. And now I have a Lurrus left over at the end of it. I think Battle Rage will probably be a relatively healthy inclusion, all things considered, Bob. No, Battle Rage isn't what Shadow is missing. If you asked me to make an estimate on what Death Shadow is missing to be top tier in this format, in my opinion, the card Death Shadow is missing is a card that will never be in this format. Street Wraith. No, I don't even think it's Fetchlands. I think it's Street Wraith. No, we're gonna get Gurmag Angler. And Gurmag Angler will make Shadow a little bit better, but the card that, like, genuinely puts Shadow's consistency up over the top, in my opinion, is Street Wraith. Shocks and Bolt lands do a pretty good job of not needing fetches to get your life total low. Street Wraith is the card that, in my opinion, really puts that archetype over the top. I think we again just do this. We board in these removals and these, and we cut these pump spells in the Arcanist. Well, Probe's not legal in Historic. Probe was good, or not legal in Modern anymore. But yeah, Street Wraith is the big one that they game. Thanks for the follows, Traystar and John Mo. Good morning. Well, at this point, Bob, I know I'm actually not super familiar with what Pioneer is right now to call it healthy or unhealthy, but honestly, at this point, what's the word I'm searching for? At this point, once we get Pioneer cards into Arena, where it's not even going to really be the Pioneer format in Historic, like even if Pioneer was 100% incredibly unhealthy, Historic could still be perfectly fine with that card pool because of the extra cards we also have in this format. Like, Historic is far beyond a Pioneer superset at this point because of the other powerful cards we've had added. I think I'm just doing this. It could be right to just kill their threat, though. There's a chance if I play this, they just, like, 1-for-1 me and keep hitting me. Only have 2 more pieces of removal, though, and this threat's not very good. Yeah, everything's fine, 49ers. Just a lot of little things all at once, and Christy needed a hand. She's thoroughly outnumbered during the day under normal circumstances. There's 3 of them and 1 of her. That's funny. I mentioned it when I came back that honestly, I'm kind of surprised that, you know, we're over a year into the kids doing remote learning, and that was the first time I had to tap out of the stream a second earlier for a little bit. I think I'm killing their threat at this point. She really is a superwoman. And on open weekends, we just had the open. She wrangles, 120 Magic players in the open, plus the 3 kids. Red Lal and Dragonfire, good morning. It's 122 kids, yeah, exactly. You talked previously about an arms race app as we try and fix formats by adding answers to threats that are potentially a bad thing. Veil of Summer's not a threat. That's the thing. Veil of Summer is an answer card, and Veil of Summer is a purely reactive card. So there's a big difference between like what Veil of Summer would do to the format. Veil of Summer is only good against a very specific subset of things, whereas like Lightning Bolt and Swords to Plowshares are generically good against a huge range of things. If that makes sense. Of course we can fix that, Jonathan. We aim to please. Thanks for 22 months, Queen Flip. Welcome back. Well, in a healthy format, Veil of Summer is not main deckable. Would be my asterisk there. Maybe Veil and healthy. It's just a super powerful answer. Like when Veil of Summer is much better than the other things you can be playing. Yeah, Veil protecting Oko is a real thing too. It's definitely Veil was banned before Oko was banned, right? Basically, my feelings change a little bit too, because basically, Memory Lapse is an incredibly powerful card. And while I don't think Memory Lapse is necessarily too powerful, I think Memory Lapse should mean other cards get more powerful cards. Other colors get more powerful cards, I guess I should say. I'm gonna wait to play this out, I think, until I have a 5th mana, so I can, like, play this, play something for the bin, and hold up God's Willing. Veil Once Upon a Time and Oko were all banned at the same time. Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. We just let this happen, right? I want this God's Willing to protect my Lurrus, because Lurrus is my card advantage. Yeah, Veil of Autumn's not a good card. It's really not. There. I have two kill target creatures sitting in hand here, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this and push some damage. Sure. No, path, like, that's such a bad, like, I hate comments like that. Like, we need Path to Exile in the format, not Veil of Summer. Like, that's completely irrelevant to the discussion we're having at hand. Like, Memory Lapse feels really powerful, and I want more counterplay to Memory Lapse and discard spells. No, we should try Path to Exile first. Those two things aren't even, like, on the same continent of being related to each other. Like, that's a really awful take, Fearburger. Like, something like Path to Exile just generically invalidates creatures by and large, whereas like Veil of Summer is specific counterplay to a very narrow subset of things as a kind of a safety valve to make sure that that subset of things isn't ever too good. I mean, at least they had the decency to say Swords to Plowshares instead, or Path instead of Swords to Plowshares. At least they didn't go full ham, I guess. I think I'd rather kill this with Rip Apart than Wizard's Lightning. All right, do I greed a little bit here and hold on to this and Spikefield Hazard the Grim Lavamancer? I think we greed and wait for another 5th land. Luca Hesse, thanks for the follow. Yeah, honestly, Nassif summed it up really well. He's a very good control player, obviously, one of the best in the business. And he talked about how back in the day, Memory Lapse wasn't very good in control decks because you needed to actually answer your opponent's problem cards in a control deck. But in the world we live in today, control decks get to play Planeswalkers, and getting to play Planeswalkers changes the dynamic completely of what Memory Lapse is able to do in the context of a control deck. That generating a turn is doing more than you getting another card. It's generating another point of card advantage on your thing. Yeah, that's also true too. Memory Lapse also never really got to exist independent of other powerful cards, and now it gets to do that. Yes, Teferi untapping 2 lands to hold up Lapse is very powerful. I'm Nursery, thank you for the 19 months. Okay. This is a little aggressive, chat, but I'm here to be aggressive. Be aggressive. Hey, Lenny, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. Yep, got a lot of... Putting them to 2 here gives us a lot of live draws. I think if you're playing, I would like, obviously we don't know our opponent's deck list, so I don't know why exactly they're not playing Lurrus, but I think not playing Lurrus is a pretty big mistake. Like that whole game came down to the fact that like, oh, they had Bone Crusher Giant. You're right. Yeah, I don't think that's worth giving up Lurrus. I guess Bone Crusher Giant is card advantage in its own way. Yeah, maybe they're on Scalds. I don't know. I feel like my gut says I'd be surprised if that's better than having the guaranteed companion every game. At any rate, I will say that the Soul-Scar Mage, Clever Lumimancer, lots of cheap burn spell plan felt very reasonable. That being said, the Kiln Fiend aspect of this deck felt a little bit lacking. Having played with this, having played against the more less all-in focused versions on Kiln Fiend, I think I prefer the builds that are playing like the Gitu Lava Runners and like the Vanishos to be a little bit more consistent, as opposed to like trying to be all in on this big explosive turn. I feel like Soul-Scar and Clever Lumimancer are enough of this kind of effect. This deck will love Taylor Swiftspear when she's legal in the format as another 1-drop. Like when you have Taylor for Monastery Swiftspear and you have Soul-Scar, Swiftspear, and Lumimancer, the number of times you'll be able to just like have triple 1-drop openers will be really consistent, and having these all be 1 mana opposed to having this slightly more powerful but also more expensive card is something else. Light Up the Stage isn't good enough. So Light Up the Stage has this awkward tension that honestly Skewer has in this deck too sometimes, where like it's hard to trigger Light Up the Stage pre-combat, and you really want to be playing all your spells pre-combat in this format, or in this deck, so you can pump up this tab. Monastery Swiftspear is Taylor Swiftspear for the Magic Zoomers in the audience. Yeah, Boros Charm will eventually be legal too. But yeah, this is definitely going to be an archetype to watch. So as the format plays, so I think it's already very good, very reasonable, and it's one that's definitely just going to get more powerful as we work deeper on into the format. All right.